Welcome to ET Studios at the Economic Times GCC Growth Summit 2025 in Hyderabad. Joining me today is a very special guest at the studios, where he will be casting a perspective on how his center is driving transformation for his global organization. This is a BFSI perspective. Welcome to GCCs at Catalyst for Resilience and Growth in BFSI. And I'm very pleased to welcome Gunjan Samtani, who's the co-chairman of Goldman Sachs in India and country head of Goldman Sachs Services India. Thank you so much for joining us at our studios today.
Well, thank you for having me, Shilpa.
Thank you for your time, and I'll get right down to it. You're a very busy schedule today. Before we delve into GCCs, let's take a macro perspective. How is India's overall economic landscape evolving, and how is the service sector contributing to the economic stability via the GCCs?
Well, India is the bright spot of growth in the world. When we look at India, we think about growth, but India is not just growing, India is actually leading the growth for the world. There is no other country with the size and scale of India's economy that is growing at a 6.5% year over year for the next several years to come. India will add trillions of dollars to its GDP in the next several years and will become the third largest economy in the world at about $10 trillion GDP. When we think about services sector, it is not just a sector that has an implication to the country, it is actually a global powerhouse for the world. The services sector in India contributes about $350 billion to India's GDP. It's about 9% of India's GDP, Shilpa. And the GCC industry, which is why we are here today, the Global Capability Centers, is the bedrock of growth in the services sector. This industry employs about 1.9 million people directly and adds about $65 billion to India's economy.
Wow, those are some mind-blowing numbers indeed, and it's a very significant contribution, right? Which brings me to my next question. What is the significance of India as a hub for GCCs, and what do you think are the factors that make it so pivotal?
Well, India is blessed with its demographics. When we think about a world of professionals, India has the highest working age professionals in the world. India has the second largest English-speaking people in the world. India also is producing engineers at the fastest clip in the world. So the imperatives of digitization and transformations driven through engineering and at scale positions India tremendously well for the GCCs. At Goldman Sachs, we started our journey in India in 2004. We came here thinking it will be a center for a few hundred people, largely doing support roles in engineering, in finance, and in operations. 20 years hence, our offices in Bangalore and Hyderabad have become the second largest offices of the firm. We have 9,000 people in our offices in Bangalore and in Hyderabad, and we are full front to back stack across each of our businesses, not just the traditional roles in business execution, but we have roles in wealth management, in sales support, in trading support, in quantitative portfolio management, in risk, in research. So the journey has been nothing but awe-inspiring. And when we step back and look at what the country is doing to support the GCC industry, the Union Finance Minister just rolled out the national framework for the GCCs, which will bring consistency in how GCC industry is supported across different states. And for the first time, we will have tier 2 cities and tier 3 cities in India also participating in this GCC growth story.
That's very interesting indeed, the sort of growth that we can anticipate. Now I want to shift our focus to the trends. What are the key trends that are transforming GCCs in the BFSI sector, especially trends like AI, and what are GCC leaderships doing to develop the AI muscle, for instance?
Yeah, sure. Look, you can't get away without dialogue and not have AI mentioned in there, as we were just talking, Shilpa. But look, most of the BFSI companies have been in India for the talent hubs for many years, which means that they have developed expertise in the products, in the businesses, and have engineering hubs. So the transformation into becoming AI-enabled transformation hubs is just one more step along the way. But AI transformation is so massive in its scale and its size that it will give an opportunity for the GCCs to almost be the front office, to have a front row seat in enabling that transformation for the respective organizations. At Goldman Sachs, as I was telling, we have about 9,000 people. Half of our people are engineers. A third of global engineering sits in India. We have had engineers in cloud development, in software development, in analytical AI for years. And so we are right at the front edge of enabling AI platforms for Goldman Sachs, as well as becoming the beneficiary of the tools and the platforms that we are rolling out for the firm.
It's interesting to see you're not just keeping up with the AI race, you're actually leading from the front as well. Now, Gunjan, from your vantage point, what do you think are the hallmarks of a successful GCC in BFSI?
Look, I'll share this answer in the context of not just BFSI, Shilpa, if it's okay. I'll just talk about GCC industry as a whole. And while there are many factors, to me, 3 factors truly stand out. The first is purpose. What's the purpose of having an office in India? It can't just be for labor cost arbitrage. Having a very meaningful purpose that defines the identity of that office in India to the global organization is essential. That identity becomes the binding glue and a set of aspiration for many employees who join the organization. The second is the culture. When you walk into the office, it should almost feel like it is another office of the firm, that there is no difference in the culture of the organization. We take a lot of pride that anybody who comes into GS Bangalore or GS Hyderabad feels like they are just walking into another office of Goldman Sachs. And the third bit, which is where it starts and which is where it is perhaps the most important bit, which is talent. Talent isn't just about hiring because there is access to talent in the country. It is about having meaningful career roadmaps. It is about having roads where people can go and join from an analyst from the colleges to becoming senior leaders in the organization right here, where location is no longer a binding constraint on the aspirations of people. So it's those factors that truly stand out in making a successful and a sustainable GCC.
So that taking off from success, what are the key metrics that you use to measure success and impact of a GCC on the company's broader organization?
Look, there are quantitative metrics in which we measure our success in the context of the percentage of the business functions globally that exist that are being performed from our offices, the total headcount in India versus the global headcount of the firm. We look at the retention, the attrition, the recognition of people through promotions. So there are many aspects of the GCC presence that we have here that can be measured through quantitative metrics. But then there are aspects that are about the experiences of people, which are more qualitative in nature. How do people feel when they come to the office every day? Do they feel that they are part of a global organization? Do they have the same opportunities as their global counterparts? What's the experience that they have when they come into the workplace to work? Is the workplace globally comparable to other offices of the firm? So there are many aspects that make the depth as well as the significance of the GCC stand out in an organization like ours.
You know, both quantitatively and qualitatively, this has been a great conversation. It's been informative on many levels. Thank you so much, Gunjan, for sharing your thoughts and experience with us.
Well, thank you again, Shilpa.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us at ET Studios, and thank you as well for being a part of this conversation. And for more such insightful discussions, remember to stay tuned to ET Studios from the ET GCC Growth Summit 2025 in Hyderabad.